I have such a fun tutorial for all of you today. It is this adorable poncho. It's off the shoulder, it can be a half shoulder, or it could be on both of your shoulders. It's honestly so versatile, and I made the pattern to be as simple as possible, so I would say this is a beginner-friendly pattern. It is also quite a quick project to make, so right before we dive into the tutorial, I just wanted to say that we got a new influx of subscribers just this last week, and I am so grateful for all of you. Hello, welcome to the channel, and if you are new or you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Also like this video and comment down below. All of your support means so much to me, and it helps me to continue making more tutorials and patterns like this. Thank you so much, and here is the tutorial. I'm going to be using this very vibrant, fun blue for this shawl, and I'm going to end up using about 1 full skein of yarn for this. So we're going to start with the very top of the shawl. So I already have my yarn casted on with a slip knot. I'm going to begin by chaining 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chains. And now we're going to do a couple rows of single crochet. So I'm just going to do a row of single crochet stitches. And what we're making here is the top of the shawl, the part that's going to hold the rest of the shawl in place on your shoulders. So I'm going to be doing 108 rows of single crochet, but you can do whatever number is going to fit you best. So really just try it on as you go along. You want it to be tight enough that the shawl is not going to fall off, but loose enough that you can still move your arms around. So whatever number fits you best, just making sure it is indeed divisible by the number 2. So I'm going to be doing 108 rows here, and I'll check back in once I'm done with that. So here is my 108 rows of single crochet. So now I'm going to fold it over, making sure that there's no twisties in here. And I'm just going to fold it in half. And now we are going to slip stitch this together. So I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch here, and then on the second part of my crochet project, I'm going to pick up this first stitch, and I'm going to pull some yarn through all of the loops, slip stitching it together. I'm going to do the same with the rest of the stitches here, making sure I have my project lined up perfectly as I do this. We now have this perfect circle here, so we can begin making the rest of the shawl. Now this shawl is going to be made up of a differing amount of chains and treble crochets, so we're going to start by just chaining 5. And then I'm going to skip this first stitch. So in the second stitch here, I'm going to place a treble crochet, which I do by yarning over twice, inserting my hook into that second stitch, pulling some yarn through, yarning over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, creating that tall treble crochet. So then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to place another treble crochet in the second stitch here. So again, I'm skipping a stitch and then treble crochet into the second stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and treble crochet into that second stitch. And you're just going to go all the way around the circle with a chain 1 and a treble crochet in every other stitch. So I'm going to complete this row, and I'll see you once I'm done. Once I reach the end here, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to count 4 chains up from the bottom here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this 4th one, I'm just going to slip stitch to complete that row. So now row 2 is going to look exactly the same, so I'm going to chain 5 and treble crochet right into this treble crochet here. Chain 1 and then treble crochet into the next stitch. So the exact same thing as we did in this last row. I'm just chaining 1 and treble crochet into the previous treble crochet of the previous row. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one more row like this, and I'll see you once it's done. And now at the end of this row here, I'm going to chain 1 and again slip stitch into the 4th chain. So this one right here. Now we can begin row number 3, which is going to look very similar to these last 2 rows, but we're going to alter it a little bit. So I'm going to start by chaining 5. And then we're going to place a treble crochet into the actual section here instead of into the stitch above. I'm putting my hook into this space and then doing a treble crochet. Like so. And now we are going to create an increase right away. So I'm going to chain 1 and then place a treble crochet into that exact same section. And then we're going to continue like normal. So I'm going to chain 1 and then treble crochet again into the actual section, not the stitch above. And we're going to just keep going along. I'm going to be treble crocheting into 26 of these sections before I actually do my next increase, where if you have a different number than me, so if you did more or less than the 108 rows when we began, you may need to alter that. So I would go through and count how many sections you have here and then cut that in half, and once you're halfway across, that's when you're going to do your next increase. That way this increase and your next increase are spaced out perfectly. So I'm just going to fill out these next 26 sections and I'll see you once we reach the next increase. Okay, so now I'm here at my next increase point, which is an even number of spaces away from the beginning on both sides here. So I'm going to start by chaining 1 and treble crochet into this next space or stitch. And then chain 1 and place a treble crochet again into that same stitch or space. And then I'm going to chain 1 and treble crochet into the next space and just continue all the way along until I complete the row. And then in this last section, I'm going to place a final treble crochet, chain 1, and slip stitch into the 4th chain, like so. Okay, so now for row 4, we're going to kind of widen the spaces, so I'm going to begin by chaining 7 this time. And then I'm going to place a treble crochet right into this first section here, chain 3, and treble crochet right into the next section. And as you can tell, this section here was where we did our first increase. You can see the 2 treble crochets coming out of the section below. So that means we're going to do another increase into this section. So I'm going to chain 3 and add another treble crochet into the same section. I'm then going to chain 3 again and continue like normal, treble crochet into the next section. So I'm just going to go all the way along, chaining 3 and placing a treble crochet into each section. I'm also paying attention for where my next increase is, so I'm keeping a lookout for that, and I'll see you once I reach it. So now I am at my next increase of the row, where I can see that these 2 treble crochets are both coming out of the same section. So that means I then can do another increase. So I'm going to chain 3 and place a treble crochet in this section like normal, and then chain 3 and treble crochet again into the same section. And then we're going to chain 3 and just continue down that whole row like normal. And then to complete the row, I'm just going to chain 3 and slip stitch into the 4th chain. So now for the 5th row, we're going to begin making much bigger spaces. So I'm going to chain 10. And then I'm going to skip this first section. Oh, this one. I'm going to skip this first section. So then the second section here, I'm going to place a treble crochet. And then we're going to chain 6. And again, I'm going to skip this section, and the second one, I'm going to place my treble crochet. Again, chain 6. Skip a section, and the next one we place a treble crochet, and just continue that all the way around this row. And in this row, I am not doing anything with the increase, I'm just going along like normal. Okay, then for row number 6, we're going to be doing essentially the same thing, so I'm going to start by chaining 10. And this time, instead of skipping one of the sections, I'm just going to place a treble crochet right into this first section here. And then we chain 6. And treble crochet right into the next section. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around this row. However, I will be obeying the increases this time. So the way I do that is I look to the row before this last one, so this one right here, and I can see we did an increase. So I'm then going to do an increase in this section as well. So I'm chaining 6. And then I'm going to treble crochet into the exact same section. And then just continue along until I reach my next increase. Okay, and then right here we can see the second increase in the last row. So down here we can see the 2 treble crochets coming out of this one section. So I'm going to do an increase then in this section here. So I'm doing just a normal treble crochet, chaining 6, and then another treble crochet right into that same section. And then just continue like normal until the end of the row. Okay, and now I'm slip stitching into the 4th chain here to close off our row. And now I'm going to chain 10. And we're doing one more row exactly like this last one, so chaining 6, treble crochet into each section. And I'm also going to be obeying all of the increases on both sides. So I'm going to do this whole row like we did last time, and I'll see you at the end. And now I'm going to finish this row by chaining 6 and slip stitching into the 4th chain on this side. Come on. There we go. So now we're already about halfway done with the shawl, and we're going to start doing some smaller stitches again. So I'm going to chain 5. And place a treble crochet into this section, and then chain 1 and place another treble crochet into this section. Chain 1 again, and a 3rd treble crochet into this section. So you're going to be placing 3 treble crochets into every single section all the way around with a chain 1 in between each stitch. So I'm chaining 1 and treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet into the same section, chain 1, treble crochet into the same section. And now in these increased sections here, I'm going to be doing 4 treble crochets instead of just the 3. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4 treble crochets in both of the increased stitches. And I'm going to continue like normal with the 3 treble crochets in each section all the way around this row, and I'll see you once it's done. And this next row is going to be essentially the same, so we're going to start by chaining 5. And I'm then going to place a treble crochet into this treble crochet stitch below, not into the section here. So each of these stitches gets a treble crochet. I'm going to chain 1 in between each stitch. And then right here in our increase section, the one that has 4 treble crochets in this section instead of 3, we're going to start normally by just chaining 1 and treble crochet into these first few stitches. And chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, and now for the increase right between the 3rd and the 4th treble crochet here, we're going to place another treble crochet in that open section. I'm then going to chain 1 and treble crochet on top of this next stitch, and then continue like normal all the way around the row, doing this same thing at the next increase. It might be a bit tricky to actually spot where the increase is because it's very subtle now, so just pay attention to where that section is with the 4 treble crochets on the other side of your work so you don't miss it. So we're actually going to do 3 rows exactly like this, chaining 5 to begin your row, treble crochet onto each stitch with a chain in between, and then the increases in the 2 sections. So I'm going to do all 3 of these rows, and I'll see you once I'm done with that. I have now completed the 3 rows of these treble crochets, so we're now going to do our very last row of this shawl. So I'm going to start by chaining 7. And now I'm going to skip this first stitch, and in the second stitch here I'm going to place a treble crochet. I'm then going to chain 3, and again skip the next stitch and place a treble crochet into that second stitch. Chain 3, and treble crochet into that second stitch. And because this is the last row of our work, I'm going to be ignoring the increase and just going around this row like normal, so chaining 3 and treble crocheting into every other stitch. And I'll see you when I'm done with this row. I'm just going to finish this row by chaining 3 and then slip stitching into the 4th chain. And now I'm going to cast off my work. And now I'm going to be adding some tassels to the bottom of this shawl, so you can decide how long you want the tassels to be. I'm cutting mine to be 16 inches long, so 8 inches folded over. I am using 3 strands of 16-inch long yarn for my tassel, and I'm going to just start by folding it in half. And then I'm going to pick a section along the bottom here. And I'm just threading the folded over portion into this section. Like so. I am then going to take the tail and thread it through this loop. I'm going to pull it tight. And then just to make sure this tassel does not come undone, I'm going to add 1 additional knot right to the base here. Like so, creating our first tassel. So I'm now going to cut a bunch more yarn, and I'm going to be placing a tassel in every 4 spaces all the way along the bottom of the shawl. Okay, and now all I have to do is weave in the loose ends. I actually only have 1 yarn string to weave in because the other one I ended up tying into a tassel, so I don't have to deal with weaving it in. So I'm just going to weave in this very top string, and then this will be a completed shawl. Here is the finished crochet shawl, and one last step you could do, this is completely optional, is if you wanted to have a little bit more texture and you wanted this to kind of come together a bit better, you could take a pet hairbrush like this one with the wire bristles and just lightly brush along this and down at the tassels to sort of bring out some of the fibers of the yarn and seamlessly blend all of the stitches together. So I'm going to do that with this shawl to show you what that might look like. Here is what the shawl looks like brushed out. I did just a very light brushing over all of it, but it's much softer and it looks just a lot more together this way. But I did do the other one without brushing it, and I like that one too, so it really is up to personal preference on this. But if you did end up making one of these shawls, then please tag me in any pictures that you post because I would love to see how yours turned out. It makes me so happy to see all the creations that you guys have made from my videos. And I post these tutorials once a week every Tuesday, so make sure you subscribe. That way you can come back for all of my videos. Also, you can turn on notifications so you don't miss a single tutorial, and I will see you again soon. Have a great day.